Welcome to Community Voices with your host, Terrence Lachey. This radio roundtable features community, business, and religious leaders that discuss current events and topics that impact our urban community. If you would like to be a guest or if you have a suggested topic, contact the station today at 616-259-7342. Now, into the program.
Greetings and welcome back to Community Voices. My name is Terrence Lachey, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening, or this may be a replay for you. But of course, Community Voices is designed to bring to you the most current and recognizable information and resources available to the greater Grand Rapids community. We've got two guests here in the studio. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Exciting events coming up, things that would impact our community in a great way. And of course, ladies first. So thank you for being here today. Can you tell our listeners your name and what you do with the organization that you are part of?
Absolutely. My name is Mira Densmore. I am a commercial realtor based here in Grand Rapids, serving West Michigan, and I also sit on the board of Rowma, our local NARAB chapter.
Great. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it. We're going to get to know a little bit more about Rowma and an event that you guys have coming up.
Yes, definitely.
Right. And who do we have here?
My name is Jay Kilgo, and I am a real estate broker, also the president of Rowma. Grand Rapids native, and currently live in Muskegon. I'm the city commissioner for Ward 1 in the city of Muskegon.
Terrific. It's kind of like a sister city for us, right? Lots of people. Well, welcome to you both. I'm glad that you are here. And if somebody's just tuning in, you're listening to Community Voices on 91.9 FM, The People's Choice. And we're going to talk about the Realist. How about that? Fill our listening audience, and who wants to go first on what is a realist? You know, I think of a realist as somebody who's just simply very real.
Well, it's
That's
actually
definitely part of it.
Yeah, it's actually Realtist.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you the 30-second spiel that I give everyone. So in 1947, people that look like us couldn't be realtors.
Okay.
That's a trademark term by the National Association of Realtors. They banned us from selling houses and having access to their MLS. So a group of 12 people, including two right here from Michigan, went down to Tampa, Florida, and created NARAB, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and coined the term Realtist. So I am a realtor, but I'm also a Realtist.
There we go.
And they have been going strong for the last 76 years, but we've only had one chapter here in Michigan.
Okay.
And now we were chartered in 2023, and we now have a chapter here in West Michigan. So Rowma is the Realtists of West Michigan Association.
Great. So the organization that has been chartered is in the Detroit area, am I correct?
Correct. Yep. GDRA, the Greater Detroit Realtists Association. They've been around since 1947.
Terrific.
Yep.
Well, you've got commercial as well as residential. Tell us a little bit about the commercial side of that.
Oh, well, that depends what kind of niche you want to get into. But things are definitely competitive here in Grand Rapids. We actually have the top industrial market in the nation for commercial real estate. So it's a very, very low vacancy rate, especially in the downtown area. So
Terrific. Now, this organization, you said, was really designed because there were resources and accesses denied or accesses that were not made available to people of color. Talk a little bit about your passion for being involved with that, Jay.
Well, my passion goes back to before I was born, the history of our country and where we're at. This is actually the 56th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act this week, and April's Fair Housing Month. So some of the activities that we have coming this week are because of it being Fair Housing Month. Excuse me, but NARAB has fought for democracy in housing since their inception, and a lot of people may not dig into politics, but they've done a lot of work nationally to get things like the Fair Housing Act law passed, all the way down to current legislation that Congresswoman Nakia Williams is working on to quote unquote save Big Mama's house.
Right.
So, you know, from
that multi-generational pass down. Yeah.
Exactly. So my passion really is for people of color to have equity in the housing spaces. Yesterday we had our political advocacy breakfast, and our local representative Christian Grant came and spoke and was really talking about the history of redlining and segregation and denial to housing resources, where they would give, in the 1600s, settlers that came 50 acres and a horse. That's where 40 acres and a mule comes from, because we want our piece of that equity. We never got free stuff. We've had to fight tooth and nail and claw for 400 years to get a piece of equity.
Sure.
So my passion for doing real estate or doing the community work that I do is to educate our people. I'm not an educator, and I think I should have been, because I am a big advocate for financial and home ownership education, because those are things that build generational wealth for our people. And more than 60% of a family's net wealth comes from their home equity.
Sure. Or home ownership. Yeah.
And home ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of my passions that I just want us to, they had that 400-year head start. I want us to be in the race to have that equity.
Sure. I think it's worth noting that there is a much smaller percentage of land ownership or home ownership among Blacks, Latino people than there are of the majority population. And I hear your passion. Mira, tell us a little bit about your involvement on the commercial side of that, because we're talking business ownership now. We're talking entrepreneurship, which, of course, is a very important element of the American economy, of which we play a very large part, mostly on the consumer side.
Absolutely. Personally, I feel like we are the ultimate consumer, and it's really a shame that we don't necessarily have the same outlets to be able to patronize amongst ourselves. My passion for that honestly started when I was a kid. I'm a Detroit native.
Yeah, so am I.
So
East side. You from the east side?
Yep, I am from the east side, right off Mack and Gratiot.
Are you serious? That's the same area. I went to Southeastern High School.
Yep. So, growing up there in the 90s, our community was not developed. I saw, abandoned buildings all the time. And I used to always wonder, what would this area look like if it were thriving, if that business was open, if I could go down the street and really shop and get all the things that I need.
What did it used to look like?
Yep. What did it used to look like? Because it was, Detroit did have a prime time before my time. But that's kind of what initially fueled my passion for real estate. And I've always wanted to, flip buildings.
Sure.
And, bring that life back into my community and be able to share that amongst ourselves.
Sure.
So that's kind of what got me involved. And, I think that this organization is really right on par with that.
Absolutely. Just based on what I saw, this whole week is designed and pretty much laid out to do some informing, some recruiting possibly, or maybe even empowerment. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on this week. There's some things that is happening that I believe that the community can benefit from. But yesterday was a political advocacy breakfast, and then Volunteer Day.
Yep. So today is Volunteer Day. The Realtists that are here in West Michigan, we're actually going to head over to Kids Food Basket and help prepare some meals for, the local kids in need. So we are going to give a little bit of our time back. And then we do have, tomorrow we have a Homebuyer 101 workshop coming up.
Tomorrow as in April 10th. I want to make sure, because when this airs and people listen, it'll be on Friday, which leads up to another event.
Yep.
So talk about the 10th, and then let's talk about the 11th.
Yep. So right on April 10th, we're going to have a home buyer workshop. It's right around lunchtime. It's virtual. So if anybody is free, you can definitely feel free to hop on. But our big day that is not only community day for us locally, but it actually is part of the National Building Black Wealth Tour. That is a 100-city stop that NARAB National is putting on. So there's going to be community days all over the nation on Saturday, and we are so happy to be partaking in that.
How long has the West Michigan chapter been
So we have been in existence for 2 years, and we were chartered in to national last year. So technically we're only 1 year old, but Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose is the current president of NARAB National, and she has put in some tireless work to get this 100-city Building Black Wealth Tour Community Day. So that's the full name of it. And this Saturday, the 13th of April, we are hosting ours. It's a free event to the community. We are going to be hosting it at LifeQuest Ministries, 1050 Fisk, right here in Grand Rapids.
Bishop Jerry Bishop.
That is,
Pastor Jerry Bishop.
Pastor Bishop's church. Free, free for the whole community. We're going to have lots of things for the kids, right? Games, prizes, giveaways. We're going to give away 2 bikes, free food, bounce house, a smokehouse. So the Grand Rapids Fire Department is going to come through and have stuff for the kids. And then we're also going to have things for the adults, potential home buyers, people that just have questions, people that are curious about how to buy or sell property. We're going to have all the professionals in the building to really try to pull our community together for the greater good.
Sure, this is great timing. I think that people are in a place even now with tax season, tax return, to start thinking, should I invest some money in commercial real estate, or is it time to become a homeowner? And I think on this coming Saturday, there'll be a great opportunity there for people. What's contact information? I know we're going to do some more talking, but I want to get this out as soon as possible. Somebody may want to start Googling or, check out some web addresses and that kind of thing.
For sure. So there's a few different, multiple ways. Our website is realtistwestmichigan.com. And people can also find us on Facebook, Realtist of West Michigan Association. That's our Facebook page, but our website also. And they can find information about all of our events on both the website or the Facebook page.
Great. And there's no registration required for this coming Saturday.
Correct.
Just walk up, come in, get some info, have some fun, get some community in. I know that Pastor Jerry Bishop is all about community, and he serves the greater Grand Rapids area really well. So he's hosting at his site, and I think that there'll be some other sources there too. There are a couple of other organizations I think that's going to be involved with housing as it relates to down payment assistance, home buyer assistance. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So we're going to have several, including some of our sponsors, which are some of the local lenders, right? We definitely need that partnership
Absolutely.
from these financial institutions. Mercantile Bank, Huntington Bank, Lake Michigan Credit Union are just a few to name that have sponsored our Realtist Week and our week full of events this week. But when it comes to getting people pre-approved, right? There's the education piece, but we also need our lenders. We spoke about it a little bit yesterday at our breakfast to look at some of the special purpose credit programs, which means because we're handicapped in a sense of not having the current equity that some others have, they look at census tracts and what the population looks like. Okay, maybe they offer us special interest rates to allow us to create more homeowners. Maybe they offer us financial assistance in the way of down payment assistance. Maybe they look at different credit score models, because that's a big hurdle that a lot of people have. And there's a lot of talk right now nationally on the FICO score versus other scores, because FICO score doesn't count someone, hey, I've paid rent here on time for the last 3 years in a row.
FICO is just one measure,
Right, and that maybe that those on-time rent payments should go towards me showing you I can pay a mortgage because I've paid my rent all these years.
And as high as rents are, they are comparable to what a mortgage is.
And every rent payment, there's no return on it. You're literally paying your landlord's rent or your landlord's mortgage when you pay your rent. But if we can turn some of the renters into home buyers, then every payment they make, they're creating a bit of equity for themselves.
And generational wealth.
Amen.
It's called real estate for a reason, right?
Right.
Because it's here and it never goes away. Add to that. I know you got some passion for this.
Definitely. I mean, Jay just made some really great points there. There definitely will be a bunch of different lenders to talk to in case you guys do have that one-on-one time. I know we also have some great credit specialists in our group that are involved too.
That's going to be beneficial. I know some people going through the pre-approval process right now and they need the credit specialist because of the credit scores, and the credit scores are what they are because of various reasons.
Yep. And not all of those reasons are always our own. There are
Terrific.
a lot of errors that that can happen. Sometimes when you finance something, it gets sold to a different company, and all those things can get lost in translation.
And derogatory information on your credit report and that type of thing. Yeah.
Yep. So that's going to be great, and really just to come to a casual setting too, and just get some of those questions answered, because not everybody's comfortable to come into a big bank, and it can definitely feel kind of intimidating, especially if this is not something that we're even really used to talking about as a people.
Yeah, that's true. I mentioned generational wealth, and I think that's what it is for me, is to promote awareness and promote the significance of purchasing property as opposed to renting property. And once that purchase is made, you literally become a notable citizen within the community that has a voice. And oftentimes we're reactionary as opposed to being proactive. But when people own property and real estate, whether it's commercial or whether it's multi-use or whether it's residential, it makes a difference when we start talking about voters and districts and that type of thing. And I'm sure you can speak to that. Tell us a little bit about what home ownership looks like right now for Blacks here in the greater Grand Rapids or West Michigan area.
I'm so glad that you asked, because I actually reviewed the numbers yesterday at our political advocacy breakfast. The home ownership rate in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for Black Americans is at 32%, which means that 68% are renters. In Muskegon, it's about 45%, which means 55% are renters, where the average nationally for white Americans is about 70% home ownership rate.
Oh.
So here in Grand Rapids, the white home ownership rate is just under 59%. But they still have, a large gap in home ownership. So then as a realtor, I'll get a phone call or I'll have a client and somebody will say, how's the neighborhood? Well, I can't tell you how the neighborhood is. I can give you stats, but I can't say this neighborhood is better than this neighborhood. What's wrong with the neighborhood is when people rent, they don't care as much about the property.
Sure.
If I can turn this neighborhood into a bunch of homeowners, yards will be taken care of better. You'll have better... you'll have more organization with neighborhood associations. You can get a lot more things done if you have more homeowners, and the fact that they're building that generational wealth piece.
Absolutely.
So it is a whole circle. Before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about jobs and stuff like that. It all matters, and goes right down to voting, which, this being an election year, these local elections matter, our state representatives matter, and our Congress people matter. It's not about who's in the White House or anything like that. We have to get out to vote for just the local people.
Sure.
What are they going to do for us here in Grand Rapids? What am I doing for my constituents in Muskegon? Making sure that we get out and vote and know who's running for our seats and who's going to have a voice for us in our neighborhoods so that we get some equity. I know that downtown Grand Rapids, they're talk about an amphitheater and a soccer stadium. What money, what resources, what are we doing for our neighborhoods?
Sure. The core community.
Yeah.
Where many people, and we talked a little bit about the loss of the transfer of generational wealth, because Big Mama's house or Daddy's house is no longer within the family line. It has now been either purchased and the community or the area has become gentrified.
Or it was taken by taxes.
Yeah.
And that's some of the legislation that they're working on right now. Anybody who's gone through something with probate, that's when basically the government picks apart the asset and splits it how they want to. We're working on legislation to make that easier for families that do, let's say, inherit a property, so that the tax burdens are less. And so the probate process is less intrusive, and they can really make an informed decision on what to do with said property.
Well, even education on Saturday, hopefully there'll be an opportunity for some education on how to set up revocable trust or irrevocable trust of which property can be placed and it can be preserved through generations.
Yep.
What would you like to see come out of Saturday, Mira? What would you like to see?
Honestly,
Or any of the stuff that's happening this week. I'm sorry, not just Saturday. But go
okay,
ahead.
not just Saturday.
Right.
Honestly, I'd love to see some new faces. I would love to connect further with local professionals. I would love to meet some new people in the community. I would love for them to learn about us and the things that we're trying to do here, how they can get involved with that, how it could benefit them, even if they are just attending some of our events. That's what I'd love to see. Really a great turnout.
Brokers, are there agents and brokers going to be there that are in our community? I mean, in the church community in particular, we know of a few, and we can shout them out and say, hey, but seeing them there and having them a part of this event, I think would be a great deal. So make your pitch.
Yeah. So listen, as the current president of our local association, every time I see an agent of color, a broker of color, I reach out to them on Facebook. I try to have coffee with them. I'm not trying to change your brokerage, brother.
Correct.
I want you to join. Representative Grant talked about it yesterday. We have to have coalitions, right?
Absolutely.
If we want to get laws changed.
Collaboratives and coalitions. Yeah.
And so if we can get all the, and we're totally inclusive. We'll take our white brothers and sisters, Hispanic, everyone. It's not just a black organization, right? But we definitely want the agents of color and the lenders and the brokers of color. And that's what we're working on building, so that if somebody's moving to Grand Rapids and they say, I'm more comfortable, I'd like to work with an agent of color. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
I can start. Here's a whole list to choose from. And we definitely are going to have some brokers there on Saturday. What I'd like to see come out of Saturday is nationally, NARAB has an MOU with Urban League. And I've met with our local Urban League president. He stopped by our event. And we want to grow and collaborate to have more resources, right? So then if we go to the city of Grand Rapids, or if we go to our governor and say, these are some of the things that we'd like to see, we're not just chatting about it on Facebook or something. We have a real movement to make change here in our community.
Sure. And there's power in numbers. When people begin to speak collectively, the voices become a little bit louder and a little bit more attentive. That's again on this coming Saturday. It's going to be located at
Life Quest Ministries, 1050 Fisk Southeast, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's free. Bring the kids out, bring the whole family, bring everybody. It's really going to be a good time. This is our second annual.
Okay.
So we had it last year.
You had a good turnout last year?
With all the resources, we didn't have a great turnout. It was a great event.
Okay.
And guess what? There were more free gift cards, free bikes, free prizes for everybody who came last year.
Right.
So
those who did come got more.
Yeah, those who did come last year got more. So this year, come out, because there is going to be stuff all day long.
Yeah, I think one of our greatest downfalls is just getting information out and being able to share that. It's always that we share bad news, we don't share good news, and this is good news. Yeah. This is something that can help our community, because I do know entrepreneurs that are tired of renting in the commercial spaces and they're looking to maybe make a purchase and even convert it into multi-use dwelling where you've got residential and commercial.
Yep.
Those are the visions and the dreams that many people come and talk about, and I think that this would be a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, those things are definitely possible, and getting connected with the right agent, getting connected with the right lenders, getting connected with the right people who can make those dreams reality, that's really the biggest part, which we love making those connections for people and helping make their dreams come true, and also continuing to expand upon our community at the same time, because there is a sector in Grand Rapids specifically, that middle housing, that missing middle, that we really need, and that is that that 5 to 12 unit building. That is a small development.
Sure.
And we definitely need a lot more of those around here.
Sure. And it can be mixed use.
Yep, it can be mixed
as well
use.
as commercial. Yeah. I remember right after COVID, there was this big explosion of minorities opening up businesses and starting their entrepreneurial quest. And so I'm curious now, 4 years later, are there are they in better positions? Because, like home ownership transfers generational wealth, commercial property ownership also makes us stakeholders in the community.
Yeah, it certainly does, especially like you said, as business owners. But even that comes with its challenges, So yeah, we hear a lot of people opening businesses, like you say. We get excited about it, we patronize, we come out, and then we don't always have those resources. Again, we're not always backed by them to make the business grow, to make it sustainable, to do those expansions so we can get maybe a second location or, a larger space, or transition from doing the leasing to buying that building.
Sure, home ownership. Well, listen, I'm excited. I feel like I've kind of tapped into a gold mine here, and I do plan to make some more resource connections here. We've got about 5 minutes left in the conversation. Jay, we'll start with you. Tell our listening audience what you'd like them to know about everything that you do and your pretty much your life mission. It sounds like you've committed yourself to serving the community,
Yes,
but
sir.
you also serve at a level in which you can empower generations.
Yes.
And then deal with people on a daily basis.
So what I would like to do is move us forward. I'd like to see the first time home buyers who bought a house, during the pandemic, be able to upgrade that house in 5 to 10 years and buy a nice middle class home, or the middle class people be able to buy the high end home. Or the people who never, I always use my personal story, who never thought they could buy a home, with the home buyer education, teach them they can own their own home. And then on the flip side of it too, NAREB has a Black Developers Academy, right, that they launched last year, and it's been successful with the first round. That Black Developers Academy is available nationwide to anyone who's interested, and we facilitate those things in getting people into those programs so we can have more Black developers to build stuff like Mira was talking about, the smaller developments, and then they be able to go from, hey, I did this small one successfully,
To larger.
and they start getting some of these larger contracts.
Yeah. So, Mira, talk to us about your passion and what keeps you going every single day in this field.
Well, part of it is, that I'm learning myself. And I say that in the sense that every deal is different. Every person is different. Real estate can get very nuanced, and that's really important for people to connect with the right agent so that they can guide them accordingly. So that definitely keeps me going. And, really it's the people that I connect with. It's my clients. It is that business owner that's nervous and excited at the same time. It is that one that's using the equity from the sale of their home to, kind of propel themselves to the next level. That's really what it is for me, is learning everybody's story, because we all have them. Mm-hmm. And, how can we really get them to the next point so that we can get together to the next point as a group?
I love it. I think that there's something in this for everybody at a lot of different levels, whether it's somebody who's in the business of real estate or somebody who is looking for home ownership opportunities, whether somebody is attempting to expand on a dream or a vision. Last word of encouragement, I'd like to know a little bit more about Rowma and who can become involved with Rowma.
Yeah, really any professional. We do target, obviously we start with the people that are in the real estate field, from lenders to agents and brokers, but we want to partner with business professionals because we are in the business of growing our community. And like I said, that's a big circle. It's not just home ownership, but it's resources throughout our community, jobs, and so from commercial space to residential space. We want to partner with everyone.
Ideal. Yep. Great.
To piggyback off that,
I was going to say you can have the last words and close us out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. To
of course,
piggyback
pitching
off
Saturday again.
Off what Jay said, I mean, if even adjacent industry professionals, so insurance agents or bankers or,
Mortgage
appraisers,
lenders,
if you are into home inspecting, or if you're a handyman, if you are a contractor, things like that, all of those people that feed into the real estate business too. And people who are also not in the business but are curious about getting started.
Sure.
You know?
I guess there's a variety of opportunities that avail themselves, whether there's property management and landscaping, videographers, marketing people,
All
Yep.
of the above.
all of the above. So they should be here on Saturday, right?
Absolutely.
All
We'd
right.
love to see you.
Close it out with that same pitch about Saturday.
Yes. So Saturday, guys, come hang out with the local Realtists from 11 to 3 down at 1050 Fisk at LifeQuest Outreach Ministries. And it's a great time to be a Realtist.
Sounds good to me.
It is. Thank you so much.
Thank
brother.
you both for being here. I do appreciate it. You've been listening to Community Voices on 91.9 FM, The People's Choice. I'm Terrence Lachey, and we welcome you to go back and look at some old episodes, or maybe even share particularly this episode. Share it with somebody. And if you're listening live on the radio, make it your business to be at LifeQuest on Saturday. Hope to see you there.
Been listening to Community Voices with your host, Terrence Lachey. Community Voices can be heard every Friday at 12 noon. This radio roundtable features community, business, and religious leaders that discuss current events and topics that impact our urban community. If you would like to be a guest, or if you have a suggested topic, contact the station today at 616-259-7342. Until next week, let your voice be heard in the community.